Good morning. Bonjour. Comment ça va? Et toi? Ça va très bien. Ni hao. Hola. Buongiorno. Bienvenue. Wan Ying. Bienvenidos. Benvenuta. And welcome. Welcome to a special edition of Gem Hunter Stories. My name is Barry B. Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And each and every week, I get a phenomenal opportunity to take you on a journey. The place you've never been before. To hear stories you've never heard before. Each week, I get one magnificent moment to take you on a mental, physical, and spiritual adventure into the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry. And I do this because it is my hope, it is my mission to use the stories of gemstones throughout the history of time as a template, as an inception point, as a bridge to help you begin to discover the value of your own stories. I've been doing jewelry for 18 years, and I've seen things, beautiful things, pieces of jewelry and gemstones that would make you cry. I've seen jewelry that just captured the imagination, that was literally breathtaking. And in that whole entire time, I've never had someone say to me or ask me, where did that jewelry come from? I've never had someone ask me in 18 years, what country did it come from? Did the people that was doing that, I've never had someone ask me, who was the people who dug this gemstone up? I've never had someone ask me, with especially an expensive piece of jewelry or a gemstone, did the person who dug that up, did they get paid? What was the working conditions of that person who mined that gemstone? Never. I never got asked. In 18 years, I've never been asked by anyone about the millions and millions and millions of people who have died, who were enslaved, who were tortured because of gemstone. Never. Not even once. Why? because that's not why people buy jewelry. That's not the reason why people have coveted jewelry for thousands of years. People buy jewelry because of what it does for them, the way it makes them feel, the way the light hits it, the way it interacts with the light. People buy jewelry, especially women, buy jewelry because that color enhances who they are. Whether it be a piece of clothing, whether it be a dress, whether it be their skin, the color of their eyes, they buy jewelry because of the way it feels on their skin. The way when you have that ring or that necklace that special someone purchased for you, that heart, that is the symbol of the heart of that man or that woman. And you remember it. You feel it. People buy jewelry because it is a representation of a beautiful moment in their life. That's why they buy. That's why jewelry is held in such high esteem, because it brings you back. It brings you back. Jewelry is the quintessential example of once upon a time. Think about the ring, think about the bracelet, think about the necklace that you own. And when you look at that necklace, when you look at that ring or those earrings, you remember the story. And that is that story that keeps the jewelry, keeps that memory in your mind. And the reason why I'm going through this is because today we're going to talk about Queen Elizabeth. As you know, September 8th, 2022, Queen Elizabeth II made her transition. And there's this whole controversy about Queen Elizabeth. There are some people who absolutely love Queen Elizabeth. There are some people who think Queen Elizabeth, who when they think about Queen Elizabeth, they are inspired by her. They're inspired by her life and the things that she has done. And there's a whole group of people, and they're all on the internet, who thinks to celebrate Queen Elizabeth is a mistake because of all the things that she was a part of as Queen of the British Empire. And what I will say to those people in the middle, that's not the reason why people love Queen Elizabeth. And I think it's easier to begin to understand the significance of this woman, of this person, if you think of her in terms of jewelry. As I began, because I never really thought much about Queen Elizabeth other than the historical value of her in the Marine Corps. There were times when I didn't serve on her initial guard, but I was there. I was part of that whole ambiance celebrating Queen Elizabeth. And I thought that she was just, okay, she was a queen. And it wasn't until a few days ago, the day she died, I heard that she was sick. I knew she was sick, but it wasn't until I was in this store and the woman in the store was at the computer center. And all of a sudden she said, "Oh my God, oh my God." And, I live in Chicago, so I didn't know what that meant. And I said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And she said, "Yes, the queen had died." And the way she said it, my first question was, "Did you know her?" I literally asked her, "Did you know her? Were you?" She says, "No." I said, "Have you ever lived in England?" And I've lived in France, so I have an affinity to news that comes from France. And she was like, "No, I've never even been to England. I've never even been in Europe." And I said, "So why are you feeling like this?" I mean, tears were coming down her eyes. And she said, "Because she was my queen." I said, "Where are you from?" And she said, "I'm from Chicago." And she had her CTA, Chicago Transit Authority uniform on. But she said, "But she was my queen." And that made me start to think, how could this woman feel this way about a person that she has never met? A person that maybe she did or did not know her whole history, but yet this woman was mourning the death of Queen Elizabeth II. So, which made me start to think in terms of what story did Queen Elizabeth tell to make this woman 6,000 miles away cry upon hearing that she made her transition? And as I started to read about Queen Elizabeth, as I started to understand who this person is, her story, then it dawned on me that the reason why people feel the way they feel about Queen Elizabeth is the exact same reasons why we buy jewelry. Remember a few episodes ago, I told you that there are 5 characteristics that make up, or 5 attributes that make up a gemstone. Take out your notes, ladies and gentlemen. Time to take notes if you haven't already done so. There are 5 attributes that any material that constitutes a material being considered a gem: rarity, beauty, durability, desirability, and value. Those are the 5 things that make a gemstone a gemstone. And as I started to look at Queen Elizabeth's life, I realized that she, in fact, was a gemstone. She is exactly what I've been talking about for the past 2.5 years on this show. The relationship, the analogy of a gemstone with a person. Let's go through it step by step, one by one. Rarity. Queen Elizabeth was a queen. And those of us who've been around long enough, know that there's not that many queens in the world. In fact, Queen Elizabeth's death means that there's literally only about 2 queens left in the world. She was rare. She was rare because she was a woman who literally was in charge, was the symbol of elegance, of royalty for not just England, not just the United Kingdom, but for 30, 40, 50 other countries. 2.4 billion people on the planet, were under the realm of Queen Elizabeth II. So she was rare, just like a gemstone, just like a diamond. You don't find someone, a woman of that power anywhere in the world. In fact, I think it's safe to say that not only was Queen Elizabeth rare, but we may never see a woman of that power in our lifetime. She was beautiful. When you saw Queen Elizabeth, from even as a little girl, she was beautiful. Not just externally beautiful, but you can see the music inside of her. The light that was in her eyes, when you see those pictures of her as a little girl, you see that same light when you realize who she was. When you see the evolution of her, that same light was in her eyes. 96 years later, she was beautiful. And why I'm talking about beauty, think about Queen Elizabeth II. Was she ever not dressed? Was there ever a time that she was not elegant, beautiful? Her hair was always done. Her makeup was always done. She didn't just come out and just say, I'm the queen, so I'm just going to be au naturel. People have to accept me where I am, and that's fine. But what she realized was that she was a queen. So when you are a queen, there is an expectation for you to be a certain way, to have a certain look, to have a certain ambiance. So Queen Elizabeth was beautiful all the time because that was her job. That's what she decided to do. When you cut a gemstone, the first thing a lapidary or diamantaire, someone who cuts gemstones, you have to look at it, and the gem cutter, the diamantaire, has to decide what kind of gemstone that material is going to be. What's the size? What's the shape? How is that gem cutter going to maximize the effect? How is that gemstone going to maintain the color of that gemstone while at the same time maintaining as much carat weight as possible? Queen Elizabeth was beautiful because she made that decision at 25 years old. 25 years of age, she made the decision that not only was she going to be a queen, but she was going to be the perfect representation of what that meant. Every day. I laughed when I read the stories of how she had to practice wearing her crown on her head at breakfast time because that crown weighs 6 to 7 pounds, and she had to practice holding it in her head. She was beautiful. When you look at pictures of Prince Charles, now King Charles, and her, you see Prince Charles's head and looking down like this, where Queen Elizabeth, her head, her shoulders, her neck, while holding the crown, was elegant. She was beautiful. Queen Elizabeth was durable. 96 years, guys. 96 years this woman has lived. I read that in 2017, she had 292 official functions that she had to attend. And because she was a queen, because she represented something amazing, that's an empire, a kingdom that lasted for 1,000 years. She knew that she had to take care of herself. She was durable for 70 years, the second longest reigning monarch in the history of the world. Louis XIV, the Sun King, was the only monarch that reigned for longer than Queen Elizabeth. King Louis XIV reigned for 72 years and 110 days. So imagine the durability that it takes to be a woman. And she wasn't 6 feet tall or had muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger. She was just a beautiful, slight, elegant woman who outlasted Winston Churchill. Imagine, those of you who history know how macho Winston Churchill was, or that period of time during the 50s and the 60s. Think about all the rights that women are fighting for today. And yet here is this woman who, just by virtue of being the daughter of King George, becomes this ruler. And she survived. Just like a gemstone, just like a diamond. She had to take on all the pressure, all the heat of being a queen every day. She served for 25,550 days, and there was never a day that she didn't know her responsibilities, that she didn't know her job. She was durable because she stayed married to one man her whole life. One man. And not only was she queen, not only did she stay married to one man, but at no point in time, and I'm saying this as a man, at no point in time did she ever make her man, Prince Philip, feel less than. At least I never got that sense. She never emasculated Prince Philip. She never said, "I'm the queen." Maybe she did it in private. But you never saw Prince Philip standing next to his queen, feeling or looking like he was being somehow downplayed or lessened Queen Elizabeth made sure that his story of who he was in the Royal Navy, his story and who he was as her husband, as the father of her children. He stood next to Queen Elizabeth in all the pictures, proud of not only being the wife of the husband of the queen, but he knew, and you could see it in his face, you could see it in his posture, and you could see it in his whole countenance, that he was proud, that he was a man. Queen Elizabeth made him do that. Durable of how long that marriage lasted. That's what she did. That's what durability looks like. That's what we talked about before. Authenticity. When you have made the decision that you're going to be whatever, a gemstone, a diamond, a ruby, you have to be that every day. Queen Elizabeth exemplified 25,550 days. She was who she was. She was durable. Desirability. Desirability is the way a gemstone lasts over a period of time. We talked on this show about many gemstones. Peridot, which is a gemstone for August, beautiful gemstone. But peridot is not desired in the same way as an emerald is, as a diamond is, as a sapphire is. But it's still desirable. That's what makes a gemstone. A gemstone. People have to want it. So despite the fact that, yes, there's all kinds of issues dealing with the British Empire and the English colonization of countries all over the world, but yet there are people who still love who Queen Elizabeth was. And the last thing is value. Value is a two-way street. Value is not only do I have to value something, but the people who are seeing this, holding this, experiences have to value on that same list. So what she did was created an ambiance, created a character, created a person in her story that she resonated with people, and people valued her. There's questions now of whether the empire, whether the monarchy will even survive without Queen Elizabeth. So as an appraiser, as a gemological appraiser, I deem Queen Elizabeth having the most incredible value. But Queen Elizabeth is such a tremendous gemstone that I don't want my opinion to be the only opinion. So what we're going to do, what I decided to do, is bring on some other appraisers, people who have experienced her life, her story. And when we get back, I'm going to introduce you to some other queens. So I'll see you on the other side.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday,
That's
birthday.
Hello. Hello,
You got me
ladies.
good there.
Hello, ladies. How are you? How are you? Welcome to the Welcome to the Gem Hunter Stories. I am trying to find something right now, which I can't find. So what we're going to do is we're going to first have you all introduce. First of all, let me just take a second to realize that I am in a room full of queens right now. It's like, hey, England got queens. They only got one queen. Look, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 queens. So, okay. By virtue of the fact I'm at least a prince. So thank you. So let's go around and just, ladies, introduce yourselves one by, I don't know how the setup. So let's just go around and just say your name say what city or state or country you come from, because the Gem Hunter Stories is broadcast all over the world. And so let's start with Tamara. Go ahead to start, Tamara.
Tamara Hunter. I am from Branson, Missouri.
Branson, Missouri. London, Paris, Branson, Missouri. Same thing. Oh, thank you so much. All right. Ashley, welcome. Where are you? Ashley, you're next.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I am from Fox Lake, Illinois.
Fox Lake, Illinois. All right. Everybody knows Fox Lake, Illinois. Thank you so much for being here. Lachelle, please.
Good morning. I am Lachelle Atkins, also known as America's Supermom, and I am in Stockbridge, Georgia.
Georgia. All right, Georgia. And we know that Georgia is not only known for peaches, but now we know Georgia is known for queens as well. So thank you. Thank you for queen. So Kim, I'm meeting some of these ladies for the first time. So this is truly a live show. So the person that's right underneath Lachelle, what is your name and where are you from?
My name is Tiffany McKillian, and I am in San Diego, California.
San Diego, California. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to Gem Hunter Stories. And next to Lachelle's left, to your left. So please tell us who you are and where are you from?
Hi, my name is Kimberly Lechnick, and I am from Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago, Illinois. In the house. Chicago's in the house. Thank you so much. Okay. In fact, I found out that Queen Elizabeth actually owns property here, right? Not that far from where I live, down the street. She's never invited me, but I'm not going to hold that against her. That's okay. All right. And last but not least, the executive producer, the visionary of this whole thing called Diamond Factor Experience. Let's all give it up for Barbara J. Beckley. Good. Yes, everybody. So let everybody know where you're from, Barbara. We don't know who you are, but where you're from.
I am from Kenosha, Wisconsin, and wonderful happy birthday again to Tiffany.
Happy birthday.
I'm gonna get you for that one. That was funny.
Tiffany set it up. Tiffany's like, this is my birthday. I'm a queen. I should be celebrated with the queen. So thank you, queen. Thank you. Thank you. So I tried to arrange like a Blue Angels flyby, but there wasn't enough time. So next time, right? Next time. Thank you.
Next time.
So
Next time.
let's get started with where were you? And again, we're going to keep the responses like within 1 to 2 minutes. So what I want you to do is tell the audience, where were you when you heard Queen Elizabeth made her transition, and how did it make you feel? And who wants to go first? Let's just go. In fact, let's just keep it in the order the way we introduced ourselves. So Tamara, go ahead. You're first.
Well, oddly enough, I was in a dental chair and I heard someone behind me talking about it. And truthfully, my immediate thought was to my mother's best friend, who was from England and someone I dearly love. And I thought of her and how she felt because she loved the Queen. I know of the Queen. I've studied the history of that family like crazy. I'm intrigued beyond belief. And yet my immediate thought went to those that truly love her, those people that appreciated her as their leader. And we all know someone, especially us here in the United States. And so my heart went out to all of those that were going to be feeling that loss. And your story, Barry, was very poignant in the fact that many of us that didn't know her subjects could feel that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. All right. And cool. Got to go on slide. So Ashley, you're next. Where were you? And thank you for your response. I felt that. Thank you for your response. So Ashley, where were you? And you know what, Ashley, I got to be careful. So Ashley, this is the family program. So Ashley, where were you? Where were you when you heard the news about Queen Elizabeth II?
I was actually in my office. I was working, and my daughter told me. So, being a mother and hearing it from your daughter, you realize the queen is what set the example for little girls and standards around the world. That's who we looked up to as this being the man's world. So, I tried to explain that a little bit to her, but because she's so young, it only gets you so far.
Wow. And what was her reaction? Ashley? From how old is your daughter? How old was your daughter? And what was her reaction? I mean, this is her first queen. So what was other than you, of course? So
like her watching a Barbie, you know what I'm saying? Like she doesn't really understand everything fully. She just knows that that's the example, that's the proper way. And, I don't exactly know how to explain it, but she tells me that she's never going to wear high heels like me. And that, she's not going to be like the queen in certain ways.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, Lachelle, you're next. Where were you? And how did you feel when you heard that she made her transition?
I was actually in my office as well. And I can't remember if it was something that came across my feed on my phone or something. I can't really remember how I actually found out because I don't watch the news or anything. But my initial reaction was just shock. Even though she was 96, I don't know. It just really kind of had me in shock. And then my next reaction was for her family. She had been such an icon for so long. And now we have her son who is now on the throne. But I just know for them that just had to be a hard time because she did have such longevity. And because she was able to stay on the throne as long as she did, to me, I just think about the anxiety that they might be feeling about, are they going to be able to fill her shoes, so to speak? So that's kind of what came to mind for me.
Wow. Thank you so much. And it was interesting. I mean, she was 96 years old, and maybe I'm just being a man about this or Marine. But when I thought about it and the way people reaction, I was like, secretly, I'm saying she was 96. How long did you want her to stay? I mean, the woman was working for 70 years. She don't deserve a break. I mean, that was the first thing that came to mind. Yeah. So thank you. So Tiffany, and of course, when I say Tiffany, as a gemologist, when I say Tiffany, there's like, oh, and it's her birthday. So she knows. So Tiffany, okay, thank you for all the jewelry stores you have all over the world. So, but Tiffany, where were you and how did you feel?
I was sitting right here in my home office, and so many of us have family group chats. You got that one member of the family group chat that is the CNN, local and international. Well, my mother-in-law is that person, and she was born and raised in Germany, so European happenings are very important to her. And so I got the text, and the first thing I remember thinking was, I mean, it was pause. It's just, that's going to cause a reaction because they're the people who love her, the people who vilify her. That's there's gonna be some momentum behind this. And then I started thinking about the practicality of it. Okay, so I guess that means King Charles now instead of Prince Charles. How am I going to explain this to my daughter who's mixed race? Wait a minute, we have the princess situation, and I'm referring to the princess that I align with a little bit on the skin tone wise. I wonder what that looks like for her. I wonder what that feels like for her, because there was so much controversy about her. So I just went down a rabbit hole of and as writers often do, you just tell yourself to stop and then go back to work.
I like that. Okay, thank you. Kimberly, where were you, and how did it make you feel?
Like many of the ladies, I was working, and for me, I had to sit with it for a moment. In the world that we live in today, where we are in dire need of leadership. We are in dire need of women in leadership, but men also. My thought was one of sadness and reflection. It was okay. You know, what is it that we can do to ensure that there are more leaders that we're producing? The second thing that came to mind was kind of talk about kind of what Lachelle was talking about when she was saying, how does this family feel? And is this family going to be able to carry on their legacy? You know, they have to be running around thinking, oh my goodness. The reality is when we all lose a loved one, there's a sadness. But under these circumstances, the sadness, then they have to get back to business. They have to get back to business and make sure that they're moving forward. So what is that going to look like, not only for their family, because it starts in the home, of course, the leadership aspect, but what is that going to look like for the country? But what is it going to look like for the world? To me, today, we all need to say a prayer prayer for their family and a prayer for our world.
Wow. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't just choose anybody. We got some real thinkers here. I'm thinking, it's amazing. Your responses and how it relates to you is wonderful. Now, to Barbara, you know the way I always say Barbara's name, Barbara Barbara J. Beckley. What was your response? Barbara's like, I'm going to kill you later on. After Tiffany finished getting with her. Okay, I got her next, Tiffany. All right, so Barbara, where were you and what was your reaction?
I was basically in a woman's coaching session. In fact, Tiffany knows this wonderful lady, Holly, even though she's basically our coach. And it was about to end, and then I got the news feed saying that the Queen basically passed away. And I looked for a minute and I was like, wait a minute. First, I want to say, is this real? Because I always do that first. Sometimes you have to check. And then after I seen that and it was just blowing up the phone, we were about to end. And I said, well, ladies, just to let you know, if you didn't see it already, Queen Elizabeth II has passed. And it was just like this earth shaking. Everybody was just on the screen like, what? You know, they couldn't hardly believe it. And then when I was watching them with their reaction and then how my reaction was, because like I said, that was a checker first to see, make sure. I just thought about all that history, everything she went through, the age from 26, when her dad basically said, this is it. And basically, I was in my life, okay, she has no life anymore in a sense, because she has to be queen no matter what. And she did it for 70 years. So my historical thing just came in my head and said, wow, that's powerful. Even if people didn't like her, whatever, I mean, you know, like you said, they're old, whatever. It's just, look at, she stood for 70 years. And then now what? So I was kind of like how everybody was saying with the family and stuff. So that's where I was at.
Wow, thank you. And what? Thank you, Barbara, for that, and everybody, because you know what? As a man, you know what I'm getting from this is truly validation of what women can do. All of you thought deeper. You just didn't say, "Oh, she's dead," or like, "Who's going to get her jewelry?" Nobody said that. Everyone thought about the family, how it was going to react, and I want you ladies to understand that's what women do. All of you are I don't know everybody. I don't know if everybody has children, but there's a decision that women make that they're going to be a wife. They're going to be a mom. Lachelle has how many children? Lachelle? I'm sorry, I got 15, to say how many? 15 children. So when Lachelle makes that transition, they're going to have the same thing they're doing with Queen Elizabeth. I mean, the whole world is going to mourn. I mean, 15, but she had to make that decision. So let's make sure I'm gonna make all of you guys appraisers right now. Men. You're now appraisers. Ashley is an appraiser already. So I want to bring up, first of all, before we do that, but that's you can leave, that's fine. The next question is, What is the queen? Yeah, thank you, Bob. What is a queen? Let's all make sure that we're all on the same page, same order. In fact, let's reverse it. Barbara, let's go in reverse order. Barbara, what is a queen? 1 minute. What is a queen?
I look at a queen wherever a woman is at in her life, be it if she's a mother, wife, she has her own business, she doesn't have any children, whatever, but she just reigns over it with so much respect and so much just tact in them. And that's why I call the lady queens, because I feel like they're a queen, they're a kingdom, they're queen king of their own kingdom. And a lot of times women really don't understand that sometimes because we're so busy doing, and we don't take and we don't reflect back to say, you know what? I am royalty. I am doing something in the world, even if it's just helping one individual, one-on-one. So I look at that, and I mean, that's by my own definitions, not in Webster or anything, but that's what I look at a queen as, is sitting on her own throne in her own world and being that reflection for other women. And that's a queen to me.
Wow. Think about it, ladies. Every time, who has children? Who has children? Raise your hand if you have children. Wow. And so think about it. You know why you ladies are called queens all the time. You know what they call queens here of most of the world? Mom. Think about it. Where that child says, Mom, you are the queen. You are the queen. And most moms, you expect your child to react the same way that yes, madam, yes, your highness. So Kimberly, at least you hope that. Lachelle was like, yeah, that would be nice. Yes, I order you to clean your room. Yes, your royal highness. That would be great. So Kimberly, what is a queen? What is a queen?
What is a queen?
What is a queen? 1 minute. What is a queen? Yes, ma'am.
The queen is the most powerful chess piece.
Ooh.
And the reason why I say that is because, yes, you are absolutely right, Barry. We are queens in our home, but we are also queens when we move out into the community. And I think there's certain expectations in ways that we move through the world. And so, yeah, that's my definition of a queen.
Wow. Wonderful. No, Lachelle, you're next. Lachelle.
Okay, well, I love acronyms, so I'm just gonna use that to quickly describe. But I would say first, quietly powerful. You know, they don't have to go around talking about what their status or position is. The next thing is that they have unique talent. They are encourager, they're empowered, and lastly but not least, they're able to navigate through difficulty. So that would be my definition of a queen.
You see, guys, you're dealing with powerful women here. When Lachelle not only defined it, she gave you acronyms so you could remember. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's see, Tiffany, what is a queen?
I'm going to say this with all the humility in my heart.
Okay, wait. Okay, thank you. Go.
So a queen is me. I'm just kidding, but I'm serious because all of us women are queens, and I today especially I'm going to take ownership as I reflect back on everything that I have been through, every person that I'm standing up for, the paths that I have forged, the paths that I have forged, the mountaintops that I stand on, and the ones I'm still climbing. We are queens. I am a queen, and I am okay saying I'm a queen.
That sounds like somebody whoever's into marketing. Yes, Barb. Whoever's into marketing needs to have that. Wouldn't that be cool to have a T-shirt? I'm giving you an idea here. I am a queen. That would be cool. That would be cool. Somebody's gonna have that. I'll be like, dang, I don't get a cut. I don't get a shout out. All right, Ashley, what is the queen? What is a queen?
I feel like a queen could be anybody, to be honest. A role model, a mother figure, a timestamp of the, what's going on. Anybody you can look up to, just that person. Like I said, women everywhere looked up to who the queen was at any time, in the past. We all looked up to who the woman was in the world because we are living in a man's world. So really, anybody that wants to make a difference could be a queen. Children or not. My
Wow.
princess could be a queen, and she doesn't
Oh, yeah.
want children.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing that I want people to understand, how even though again she represented the British Empire and all the things, and I'm not unaware of what happened. Everything that Queen Elizabeth had, let me say this right out, everything that she wore was taken or stolen or at least some given by some colony that the British Empire had a part. But when people love her, what you're hearing from these ladies is deeper than just that. It's a representation. They see themselves in that story, in parts of that story. So, Tamara, what is a queen?
Well, when I think of a queen, I think of history, because that's where I've been very fascinated with royals and where it all comes from. Many times you think about a queen that has married into the situation, and Queen Elizabeth II's situation, she was born as a princess, but she wasn't meant to be queen. She wasn't meant to be, because of abdication, because of different choices, she ends up growing into being a queen. When she became that queen, she became a person that then was able to, through, I love what Lachelle shared, in the quiet, her quiet patience and her ability to show strength. And whatever you think of her, I'm with you, Barry. However, the thing I do gain when I would look at her and study her is that she would stand there. She would allow in grace for the person with her in that meeting to be the best that they could be. And I think a queen is not necessarily a ruler or the person that's wearing those beautiful jewels. A queen is someone that allows someone else to shine. They allow and bring that shine out in the others. And that's what I saw from her. And that's the take-home message I want to remember her for.
Yeah. Just like jewelry. People, when a woman wears a piece of jewelry, in all honesty, that jewelry is just accenting who she is. When you put on that necklace, those earrings, that ring represents some aspect, whatever gemstone you like, of who you are. So this is the Gem Hunter stories. You know I'm a teacher. So Barbara, go ahead and bring up the slide. We're gonna come to the lab portion of the thing. So this is the thought bubble of the characteristics and traits. As I told you, gemstones has characteristics and traits. So ladies, what I want you to do, 1 minute, I want you to go ahead and look at the characteristics of Queen Elizabeth I. And just to let you know, here's the fun fact. Queen Elizabeth II was basically the distant cousin of Queen Elizabeth I, like 14 times removed. I looked it up. I was just like, what is the relationship? So these are the characteristics and traits of Queen Elizabeth I. I want you to look at these traits, pick one, and then tell me why that trait resonates with you. Let's go back in the reverse order. In fact, let me just pick people. Let's start with Kimberly. Go ahead. What trait and why does that resonate with you?
So we're choosing a trait based on what
Queen Elizabeth II. This is the traits of Queen Elizabeth I, but which one of these traits that Queen Elizabeth II had, and why did that resonate with you?
I think that the courageous, I think it takes a lot of courage to do and to lead for 70 years. She was being polished, if you want to use your analogy of a gem. She was being polished every single day, probably being polished in ways that she didn't really want to be polished. But when she was showing up, she was showing up like you don't know. So yeah, courage, courageous, absolutely.
Wonderful. Tamara, you're next. Which characteristics or trait, and why does that resonate with you?
I'm going to say influential. And the reason I'm going to say that is because of, I have to say that when Princess Diana passed away, and the queen didn't show up for a while. That to me was something that I was disappointed in. However, when she did show up, she influenced others to say, okay, my bad, my wrong. I didn't show up immediately. I am now going to go ahead and show up. She showed that vulnerability, and she was able to influence others to say, okay, sometimes we don't always make the right decision. However, we can change and we can step up to make a difference. When she showed up and she walked along the tribute and then she talked to those that were there, that to me was a moment in time that she influenced the world to say, okay, even a queen can make a poor choice, but do something about it and show up.
Ooh, get deep in it. Woo, this is nice. Thank you. Tiffany, what characteristics and why did it resonate with you?
I'm going to actually pick strong because it's in here twice, strong and strong-willed. But I'm going to put a spin on it in that she was strong enough to admit she couldn't do it all on her own. I love the fact that no matter what innovative thing she did in this highly, highly mansplained world, she did it with a strength that simply said, we're going to move forward. Oh, I made a mistake. We're going to move forward. This is good. This is good. We're not going to do that. We're going to move forward. We're going to move forward. And a lot of the times it was about, maintaining the allure, the facets, if you will, of the monarchy. And it takes a great strength in a world filled with men, such as it was for her, to stand toe to toe every day for 70 years, no breaks, no vacations, right or wrong, admitting when she was sometimes, and to say, we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward. And that's what she did until the very last day.
Wow. Who's I'm loving the responses. I've kind of lost track. Who's next? Who's next? Barbara, I didn't hear your voice. Barbara, who's next? You go next, Barbara.
Yeah, then America's Supermom. So my trait that I choose is ambitious. Okay. Because again, looking through her world for all the years she was living since, like 26, I just keep thinking that 26 years old, it was like, you're going to be queen. I mean, everything. But even after she had to sort that out in her mind, because she dealt with that, it wasn't just like, okay, I'm queen, thank you so much. I mean, she went through a lot of back and forth to the point she almost wanted to kind of run in her head and say, I don't know if I want to really do this. But then when she became queen and she knew she had to sit in that seat, she still did things that she liked to do. I mean, you see a lot of pictures of her with the motorcycle. She loved traveling. She loved the animals she had. She liked going to safaris. I mean, and I just look at that for me. I say, you know what? I want to keep that going in my life, no matter what age range you are. You should always be ambitious to keep moving and striving, whatever position you're in. So that's what I loved about her, that she just kept doing certain things and showing us as women that, hey, I'm a leader, but I'm still out there. I'm still enjoying my life. I'm still pushing forward, and I want you to show that to everybody else as well.
Wow. Somebody I know, of a viewer of my show told me that one of the things she loved about Queen Elizabeth was how she compartmentalized, speaking to what you're saying, how she was able to be a queen and a mom and a grandmother and a husband and a wife and a leader and a comforter and all these things all at the same time. Lachelle, what characteristic, I know we only got a few minutes left, what characteristic and what trait did you find in Queen Elizabeth, and how did it, Queen Elizabeth II, and how did that resonate with you?
I'm going to say loyal, because knowing the history of how she got on the throne and understanding what her role was with that and how she worked into her death. So how she's remembered still reigning, so to speak, until the day she died. So I'm going to say loyal.
Loyal. Very good. And again, we're just going to get right into the next question. So we're just going to do last question
Ashley
is.
didn't go. Did Ashley go?
Oh, Ashley. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Again, I'm just into what you're saying. Go ahead, Ashley. Voila. Let me introduce you. Introducing Ashley's response. There you go. Ashley, go. Ashley,
Hello?
go ahead. Yes,
Sorry.
Ashley, trait and characteristic.
I'm going to go with intelligent just because I feel like everything she did was like a chess game. She was a mom. She was a ruler. She organized her monarch. She did everything, and she did it quietly. She even handled the press. When everything was leaked, she made sure everything was the right way. So that's why I'm going to go with intelligent. I kind of do the same thing.
Wow. Okay, great. Ladies, so we only have 2 minutes. We only have 2 minutes left. So just real quick, what trait, what are you going to now with her story? As I always say, her story resonates, the sound. So real quick, 30 seconds, go in the original order. Tamara, what resonates with you? What are you going to take with you in your own life from Queen Elizabeth II?
That no matter what the situation is, that you end up in that role, however you got there, you can actually make it yours and achieve and influence others to do so too.
Wonderful. Thank you, Queen Tamara. Queen Ashley, go ahead. What, 30
I am
seconds?
going to be the best role model I can in the female, as a female, I'm going to be the best role model I can, the best leader.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Queen Tiffany, your response.
I'm going to take from it that power needs responsibility, and power also needs joy. And she took time for both.
Cool. Wonderful. Queen Lachelle, your response.
I'm going to say posture. We have to be the example that we want other people to remember.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you. Queen Kimberly, your response.
I think that I'm going to be in reflection still about this a bit, but I think that it just really solidified that, my commitment to developing more leaders. So important.
So
Our
important.
world needs more leaders, more servant leaders.
And more women leaders. More women. I know. I'm going to get kicked out of the guys club for this, but I said it. All right. So, and last but not least, Madame Queen Barbara, your response.
Honor other queens all the time and have fun.
Wow. Have fun. Have fun. All right, ladies, thank you so much for being a part of this. I am moved and honored by your responses, by you coming on from all over the country. We're just going to say all over the world because your energy is touching all over the world. Thank you so much. Let's give everybody a hand. Let's give you a hand. Thank you. You hear the claps? Look at England, France, China, all clapping. Yes. So, enchanté, my queens. Thank you so much. So, I hope you got something out of today. I hope that you got a feeling of what a story can do. That just what it means to be a gemstone. To be a gemstone is to, as I say each week, if you understand the characteristics of a gemstone, what makes a diamond, what makes an emerald, what makes it's literally, as Barbara said, and as the lady said, that responsibility of knowing who you are and knowing how who you are, your energy resonates with others. And I love the fact that everyone said in their own way, you can make mistakes. Just like diamonds are not perfect, gemstones, there's inclusions. There's a process that had to take place to become the queen. So Queen Elizabeth, 70 years, the process that it took for her to become a queen. And that is why people all over the world are mourning her passing and celebrating her life. So again, thank you so much for being part of this special episode of Gem Hunter Stories. My name is Barry B. Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And what I would like for you to do, just like we're celebrating the life of Queen Elizabeth II, I want you to take time to celebrate your life, celebrate your story, and as I always ask, discover the value of your own story. So until next week, au revoir, à te tella, voila.